Hello once more, Jim Harton here with you in the Contrary Fuchsia. You're very welcome to Plant of the Week. Today, I said last week that I was going to talk about autumn colour and how leaves get their autumn colour, and I'm going to do that. I suppose autumn is a kind of a time of the year that you either love or you hate, and if you hate it, then I feel really sorry for you. I love it because of the colours that it produces. Autumn gives us the most amazing days, lovely, fresh, bright days, cold, clean air, and the most amazing colours. There are parts of the world that you can go to where it's really spectacular. New England, of course, jumps to mind in North America, but we have plenty of places here at home as well. Any decent forest, certainly not too far from me here in Currachase, you'll have all sorts of colours in the trees as you're walking around. And you can hear as well the birds are singing. These are the birds that are preparing to leave us now for the winter. They go further down towards the Mediterranean. But they are replaced by other wildlife that comes to us here to get away from harsh weather further up north. But we are going to talk about not the birds and the bees, but we are going to talk about the colours of autumn. I hope you enjoy this one. It's a really interesting story. So I'm actually here in my backyard, and as you look down over the fields there, you can see some colour change. Now it's very early in the autumn yet, so you can see some colour change. Actually, that red that you're looking at there, they're berries. They're not. That's not autumn colour. That's actually berries on the tree, which they're full of thus far, and they'll soon disappear when the weather gets cold and the birds have nothing else to eat. But what you will see here is a beech tree, and that's a beech tree right in front. It's a magnificent specimen right in front of us here, and that is just beginning to go through the changes necessary. So if you look at the leaf of a tree or a plant, then chlorophyll is only in the leaves, not in the flower colour. So the leaf of the plant, the main chemical in the leaf producing food for the tree, is chlorophyll, and that is a dominant colour of all the chemicals that are in the leaf. That's the dominant colour, or the dominant chemical, and that's what gives it its green. So that means then that's why leaves look green. In other plants, there's a different process when you have plants that have different coloured leaves, like you have beech that has copper, or the purple leaf. That's a different plant entirely to this one. So chlorophyll is the dominant chemical, and that gives it its green. So what happens with the chlorophyll, what the chlorophyll does, it helps the leaf to photosynthesize. As it draws up nutrients and water from the ground, it photosynthesizes that with sunlight. It's a magnificent process, an amazing process into nutrients for the plant, and it goes up and down through things in the stem or the main trunk of the tree, and the branches called xylems and phloems, and they're the channels through which these things transport the nutrients. And it's an amazing little factory going on there, feeding itself and keeping itself going for sometimes hundreds of years. So if you were to put a camera on a tree or any plant and put it on, take a picture every so often, every 5 or 10 seconds, and then replay all those photos back, what you would see are the leaves of the plant turning towards the sun. They're actually maximizing their exposure to the sun, because the more sunlight they get, the more energy they can produce for the plant. So in winter, photosynthesis just shuts down, doesn't have enough light. It's cold, and sometimes, as we know, freezing. So photosynthesis doesn't work in that circumstance. So the plant decides to just drops all the leaves, and in winter it stays dormant. So as the chlorophyll is breaking down, what that does is it exposes the other chemicals that are involved in the photosynthesization process. And as the chlorophyll is being released from the plants, because the plant doesn't need the chlorophyll anymore, it's not getting enough sunshine, it's now doesn't need as many nutrients. So what it's doing is it pulls out the chlorophyll first. That then exposes the other chemicals. And some of them, one of them is called a flavanol, that gives us our yellow. You can see it there on the beach. You also have carotenoids, and the other ones are anthocyanins. And each of those give different colours. Carotenoids give orange, really orange colours, and the anthocyanins give dark reds and purples. And that's why we have different colours in the leaves in the autumn. So what happens is, as we go further into the autumn, now we're very early autumn yet, and it is mild. So as we go deeper and deeper and deeper into the autumn, what happens is the daytime temperature drops, and or the nighttime temperature drops, and the daylight hours reduce. So the plant does not get, that's the signal for it to start dropping its leaves. And it then produces a chemical called an abscisic acid, and that triggers the plant to release the leaves down at the very bottom of the leaf. It's an amazing little process. So right down at the very bottom of the leaf stem, when it connects to the branch, that's where the abscisic acid concentrates, and it triggers the release of that leaf to fall. So eventually, as the winter or the autumn goes on, that will fall. And as I say, it's triggered by the day length, so that the amount of sunshine and the night temperatures. An Indian summer, which is what we have now a bit, is nice and bright during the day, reasonably warm, certainly warm for the time of the year. And the night time is cold, is the best time for best autumn effects. And that's the real beauty of the autumn colours and the autumn effects of the weather on the trees. What it means is that no two autumns will be the same. No two plants will be the same. And every year the same plant will produce a different display. So this plant generally, this tree at the back of my own house, generally produces a spectacular display of yellows and bright oranges. No reds or purples in it. It doesn't have those. But beech does that anyway. So, but next year, the display could be entirely different. We might get a display. We might get a short display. We might get a very long display. And some plants are grown specifically for their autumn colours. I'm thinking of acers, liquid ambers, those kind of things, which are grown specifically for an autumn display. So that's it. That explains why our leaves have different colours in the autumn and how the whole thing works. So when you look out now, you can start over a cup of tea. You're sitting down at home having a cup of tea, and you can start chatting to your friends and neighbours about flavanols, carotenoids and anthocyanins. I hope you enjoyed that and it was of use to you. Thank you very much for listening. Talk to you later.